This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com and GatheringMagic.com, your place to explore the game.
Hi, I'm Davey, and this is my Lyzolda the Blood Witch Group Thug deck.
Alright, first up is Lyzolda. She was kind of Rakdos 1.0, actually one of the most viable black-red generals early on. Props to Stefan. I went through his Lyzolda the Blood Witch video, and it kind of inspired this deck. I took mine in a different direction, but if you're looking at playing her, you should definitely watch his video also. I use her primarily as a sack outlet. She comes out cheap. She's only 3 CMC, so you can cast her early. If she gets killed, you can bring her back. I like that. And she's dependable. You can use her the first turn she comes out. Skullrend was kind of the inspiration for this deck. The sub-theme of this is Group Thug, so the value on this is great. Pay 5, each opponent discards 2 cards at random. So the way this deck is built is around a concept of asymmetrical card advantage, right? Like, I want cards that scale up and get better based on having more opponents. I usually play this deck in pod play at a shop where we get dollar kills. Combos are frowned upon. So it's not super competitive, but it holds its own, and I built it to win in that environment without drawing outright aggro. Mindslicer's plan A. You want to get everybody to discard their hand and go into top deck mode, and then use your yard to get advantage against the whole board. So, you know, you are playing your initial hand of 7 cards against 28 other cards. You want to get into top deck mode and be drawing 2 cards a turn via graveyard shenanigans or top draw in order to neutralize people's initial draw. And then to finish the game, you're going to recur Grey Merchant of the Apostle or a Kokosho and just deal a bunch of life inversion where you put your opponents further and further behind together at the same time. Phyrexian Reclamation lets me get stuff back out of the yard. Great card for this deck. Get everybody to dump everything into the graveyard and then pull it back. Volrath Stronghold for the same reason. You don't get 2 cards a turn with this since you give up your draw, but if you had good utility in the graveyard, you'll want to get it back. Rix Maadi, this is once again, you discard 1 card and you get 3 or 4 of your opponent's cumulative cards. Good advantage there. Oppression is the next best beginning game card besides Mindslicer. People don't seem to be hip to how badly this will put them behind if it stays on the board for long. All of a sudden their hand got cut in half essentially because they have to discard a card in order to cast a card. So until they are in top deck mode, they basically have half as many cards, but when it comes out for 3, people don't think about it that way. Unnerve, each opponent discards 2 cards. Liliana Specter, each opponent discards a card when it comes in. Smallpox, Death Cloud. Pilgrim's Eye starts off our mana ramp. This is nice because I can recur it if I need to. Use it multiple times, I can, so some tricks. It's also a body. If you're drawing aggro, you can jump with it. Darksteel Ingot, Grim Monolith, Rakdos Cluestone, Soul Ring, Sonering in German. Bloodghast. Bloodghast comes back over and over. Constant sack outlet. Lyzolda is card draw, so for 2 with this guy and dropping a land, you're drawing an extra card every turn. Reassembling Skeleton, same reason. You can chump block. Bloodsoaked Champion is new to the deck. We'll see how he does. Ophiomancer, love this guy. He's literally a rattlesnake. You put him out there and people don't want to run into your Death Touch snake. You can sack on each of your opponent's turns if you got the mana to draw a card and get a new snake the next round, and somebody has to run into kill him and then deal with a 1/1 Death Touch snake. Nighthawk, another rattlesnake. Cheap, stay away from me. This guy, haven't had a chance to use him yet. This was a treasure I picked up from Steven's build. Looking forward to getting him going. Only got him into play once and then had enchantments behind him, so we'll see. Grave Titan, great sack fodder. Fleshbag Marauder, board control. I can recur this with Coffin Queen and wreck the board multiple times. So Olivia stands on her own. She's black and red if I need to sack her, and she is a control magic for black-red, which is awesome. She could be the general. I just took the deck in a different direction. But Crypt Ghast, mana doubler. Urabrask, my creatures have haste. I actually use this more to tap down other people's creatures when they come in and leave them without blockers, and also make it so I don't have to worry about getting hasty hit to the face. Kaervek the Merciless. Wound Reflection is this kind of cool passive-aggressive card in it. This just doubles damage done to your opponents. It has no downside to you. A little expensive to get on the board, so you want to have some blockers in case people realize that they're going to be taking a bunch of damage after this resolves. Vicious Shadows. The word's out on this one. This one does a lot of work for free, or almost free. With a sack deck, it's killer. Watch out, you'll draw aggro when you drop this, so but you can finish the game really quickly with it. Crawl Space, I'm using this to reduce the amount of aggro that can come at me at one time. Waste Not, haven't game tested it yet, seems good with a discard deck. Coca shows another win condition, same with Exsanguinate. Now we're getting into the recursion. I've got Animate Dead. Coffin Queen, one really great feature of Coffin Queen is that she doesn't exile the creature after it dies. It goes back to the graveyard, so she can bring the same creature back over and over again. That's really nice. Sheldred has Swamp Walk, so remember that if you need a closer with Urborg, you have an unblockable. Whip of Erebos, looking forward to using this. Using it to recur things out of the yard, and also to give my creatures lifelink. A lot of the card draw I have in this deck relies on sapping life in order to get the cards. Rise of the Dark Realms, expensive spell. If you resolve it, you win. Actually, though, I outlasted somebody who cast this with this deck. They cast Rise of the Dark Realms, and I went on to close it, but awesome card. Similar things, Twilight's Call. This does it for everybody, but you can use it as an instant. So if you've got the mana, use that trick. Living Death. Now for the tutors, Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Lily, Corpse Connoisseur tutors something to your graveyard twice. Rune-Scarred Demon. And now into the card draw. Yeah, with the Corpse Connoisseur, I'd bring in a spirit or something that I wanted to animate. Sacking things, drawing cards. Remember, you're putting people in top deck mode, so each one of these card draw spells should put you even more ahead of everybody. Read the Bones, love this. This is basically draw 4. You don't get those to your hand, but you get a search, so that's nice. Crucible of Worlds, I just squeaked this in. Since you've discarded your hand, theoretically, you can use this to get your lands back out of your graveyard and bring back snap fetches. Harvester of Souls. Some board sweepers, Damnation, Toxic Deluge, Life's Finale. If you know somebody's got fatties and you got an Animate Dead in your hand, go and get it from them. Kuro Pitlord. This guy's a house. That guy's awesome. I was running Hirobi, which lets you kill anything for 1, but he kind of stands on his own. Yeah, you might end up paying a bunch of life, but you control the board even before you have to pay that monstrous upkeep. Grave Pact. Flash Grave Pact. Seal of Fire. I have this in here because we have a Norin the Wary player, and this is one of the only things that kills Norin. Dreadbore. Slaughter Pact. Sometimes people try and gut shot you and they think you can't defend yourself because you're open. 0 casting cost. It's a surprise. Doesn't always work. I mean, I might like to have a go for the throat in this slot instead, but I have one, so I'm employing it. Bone Shredder, you can recur this with Coffin Queen. You can bring it back with Erebos, so he can give several times. Okay, now into some of the utility lands. I just added Kirk Heap, which will give me a red kobold to either chump block with or throw at something for 2 damage. Phyrexian Tower is an alternate sack outlet for Kokosho or Grey Merchant the Apostle. Bajuka Bog, you're filling people's yards, so this is actually the only hard piece of other person's grave hate I have in here. Wasteland, Tech Edge, Temple of the False Gods. I think every EDH deck should have this. just later in the game gets past a general tax one time. Jund Panorama. I like the panoramas versus the Terramorphic Expanse because it doesn't interrupt your mana development if all you need is total mana count. I try to really not play lands that come into play tapped, even for my fetches. Marsh Flats. I have more of the snap fetches that would fit these colors, but they're committed to more competitive decks. Urborg. Now some of the duels. Akum Refuge comes into play tapped. Thumbs down on this, but I need another black-red source. So Lava Claw Reaches, Molten Slag Heap, Dragon Skull Summit, Rakdos Signet, Stesnia Blood Hall, does damage. Lake of the Dead over Cobble Coffers. This one goes off earlier than Coffers. Command Tower, Blood Crypt, Badlands. Then I've got 10 Swamps, 8 Mountains, and that's it.
Alright, some updates. I filmed the body of this a while ago, so I've made some changes since. I've added some lands that can give me some more pain, just to get all the way there if I got one person holding out. I got a Sarkhan the Mad. I can use him to sack off your spirits and turn them into 5/5 dragons, and then you can just blast people to the face with him as well. Kind of fun, kind of a good stuff card. Feldon of the Third Path. Okay, this is really cool because when you activate his ability, it makes an artifact creature token copy of something that's in a graveyard. But that creature stays in the graveyard, so you can do that every turn, and it has the colors of the creature that you're bringing back from the graveyard. So you could get a black and red creature and get both effects off Lyzolda, or you could blink in Fleshbag Marauder or a Bone Shredder and get the ETB trigger off this guy each turn. Really excited to add him. Crux of Fate. This was an upgrade for Life's Finale, costs less, and with Sarkhan, you might have some dragons. Merciless Executioner. This is another Fleshbag Marauder. The value for this is just great, so it's in here. Kind of excited to play with this. Grim Return. I think this is mostly going to be a tech grab for other creatures, other players' removal of other creatures. You know, I have stuff I'd bring back from my graveyard, but I'd rather grab a fatty that I got off a sack trigger, or even somebody else plays a terror and be like, yeah, sure, I'll take that Elesh Norn. Sire of Insanity. Hate. At the beginning of each end step, each player discards his or her hand. House. Dictate of Erebos. Double up on the sack effects. This might be redundant. And a Stalking Vengeance. I'm just playing with this. It's a 5/5 haste. And it can blast people in the face. So we'll see. Jury's out on it. Looking forward to having fun. Thanks for watching CMDR Decks. Please subscribe and favorite.